All right. Good morning, everyone. We're going to get started in a minute or so. I'm so glad to be here with you today. It is a really hot day here in Kelowna, kind of surprisingly. And I'm really grateful for everyone who is gathering this morning. I know a couple people had trouble getting on this morning. I don't know if they're here or not, but anyway, what you need to know if you are new to Zoom is that probably along the top there's a little bar and there's a chat bubble, and you can click on there at any time. I ask a few questions that you can either answer to yourself or you can share it in the chat. This is set up as a webinar as opposed to a meeting. So all of you can see me. I can't see you. The only way we can interact is through the chat box. And it is being recorded. So just know that I am being recorded. You are not being recorded, and the chat will also not there's not a replay of the chat. So I guess what I'm saying is this is a really safe place for you to be here with like-minded people in the comfort of perhaps your own home, or I don't know, maybe you're somewhere else, or maybe hopefully you're not driving, but wherever you are. And I think especially for empaths, it can be difficult to show up and feel comfortable right away. So just know that none of this, you are not being recorded and sent out. So I think that's really important for us. And so if you have navigated to the chat button at all, please feel free to say hello. Let me know where you're coming from this morning, if you like. And if you can send it to all panelists and attendees, because I see some people are saying hello and it's only coming to me, which is totally fine. But it's always great, particularly during these times of more isolation, to know that you're in a place where there's people like us, there's people like you here who are also looking to learn and experience very similar things. All right, so I'm thrilled that you're here, and don't forget, I can see everybody saying hello to me. I'm going to give you a little clue, and this is totally okay if that's what you want to do. If you go to where it says to panelists, there's a little upside down triangle, and if you click on there, you can change it to all panelists and attendees if you want to say hi to everybody. And if not, totally okay. So I'm Madeline, and I have met some of you before. I see not all of you. Oh my gosh, Susan, all the way from Florida. It's a little bit later there, I think. You're here from London, Erin. This is amazing. I'm really happy to be teaching this class today. I'm Madeline, and I want you to know that this is coming through my private work as opposed to through the pain clinic where I work, because I do a lot of webinars for the pain clinic, and this is part of my private work. And the reason I say that is, well, you already probably know, all of you, the overlap perhaps between pain and being an empath, or chronic fatigue, or fibromyalgia, all the health issues we can suffer with. But this type of work, I think, if between you and I, if you ask any of the doctors at the pain clinic what an empath was, I don't know if they'd be able to, they may have never heard of it before. So I would just like to make that distinction. So what I want to just start off with, thank you, I get to speak about two of my very favorite things, being an empath and embodiment. And we'll see how embodied self-care is so important for us, so important. And a lot of us have, me included, learned this through some trials and tribulations, learned it the hard way. But the more you start practicing what we're going to do today, the more you're going to be able to show up in yourself, in your body, as yourself. Now, wouldn't that be cool? We always get knocked off balance, but we can come back. Before we begin, just everybody, just notice yourself. And I'm already kind of just, if you want to just move or shake, or if you're sitting down, you could even kind of shake your legs or your hands, or even, move through your neck, do what feels comfortable, what feels safe for you and your body this morning. And just give yourself a little bit of movement before we settle in. And if it means, your neck or stretching, or even reach your arms up and lift yourself up out of your pelvis, even open wide, or come back in close. Whatever feels right for your body, shaking off anything that it took to get you here this morning, anything that happened this morning, it's not happening now. If you're later in the day in the UK, you might, you're probably around 5, 6 o'clock, I think. You might just want to shake off your day a little bit. And energetically, just loosening up and shedding the layers that we accumulate on a daily basis. And shaking is a very, can be, not for everybody, can be a really good way of just loosening up the tightness that we feel inside our body. All right. So the way we're going to roll today, this is the first time I've taught this class online, is we're going to talk a little bit, and then we're going to actually move through some shapes that can help to nurture our own self-care in ourself. So we'll be doing it. If you're in a chair, you can do it from a chair, standing up, wherever you are. Or if you just want to watch and listen, you can come back later and do it. But I encourage you to do what feels right for you this morning, depending on how, I use the word resourced you feel, how resourced you feel today. And then in between, I'll be coming back to the camera, and we'll have, we can talk, and we'll talk in the chat about anything that you're noticing, or anything that's coming up for you. So I'll just give you a little background. I kind of came at this whole realization of empaths and embodiment through realizing in retrospect that I was an empath myself, probably from the get-go. And I have 2 sons, and I realized this most acutely when I realized one was really born an empath and the other one totally wasn't. They're not right or wrong, but you can get to this extra sensitive nervous system by virtue of just the way you were born, I've come to realize, or through your experiences. And so through, you may have come to a point where you've realized that, whoa, wait a minute, or you happen upon an article about an empath and realize that those characteristics fit for you. Often, and I'll again speak from my own experience, growing up can be a very confusing experience when we are unknowingly taking on the energies and the emotions of other people in a very caring and giving way, until we start to feel the effects of it in our own body. So embodied self-care is really coming back to our body, where we heal and where we feel, in a very slow, gentle way, coming back home to really nurture ourselves in our body. And there's really in our society right now, we talk very much about mind and mindfulness and, our thoughts. And that's kind of, where we look at where anxiety comes from. But anxiety is really felt in our body. And so we talk about anxiety, we talk about chronic pain as if those are kind of the acceptable things to talk about. But I see a movement coming back to to embodiment, to the body, to emotions, to feelings as really the root and the place for where most healing takes place. So we naturally disconnect from our bodies. It's not encouraged usually around us, and also due to uncomfortable circumstances, overwhelm, trauma, all kinds of reasons why we disconnect. So today we're going to learn some ways to come back in and really look after ourselves. Okay. So everything we do is an invitation. As I said, watch, listen, or participate fully. It's really up to you. I can't see you, wish I could, and how you're feeling today. And everything can be done just by sitting in a chair. So the first question I want to ask you is, what do you think of when I say self-care? What does self-care mean to you? What comes up for you? What prompted you? Get your water if you need some. What prompted you to join this morning? Or if you're watching the replay, just notice for you what self-care means to you. And it's just a thought that comes up in your mind. Self-care, time for me, me time. Absolutely. Yeah. A real essential for empaths. Hydration and nutrition. Yes. Practicing mindfulness, hard to access. Totally, Lily. I hear you on that one. And you're not alone. We have had this whole mindfulness movement that doesn't always work for people to be mindful, particularly in their bodies. Prioritizing yourself, number one. And that, if we have been sort of, I want to put quotes around it, trained as an empath to give to other people or please other people, prioritizing yourself in the very beginning can feel very, very selfish. And we may have even been told that, oh, full of yourself, or it's very selfish or very self-centered. But having gone around the route and come back myself and worked with so many women and men who've done this as well, it is the first place to start, prioritizing yourself. Awesome. Okay. So the second question I have before we dive in, because I want to know that I'm meeting a lot of the needs of people here, is what is your biggest challenge as an empath or as a highly sensitive person? What have you found to be your biggest challenge? And so just give that a thought. And there's many ways we could go with that. So separating your emotions or your emotional response, or perhaps your reaction to what is actually real. Yeah. Taking on other people's emotions, so what we call emotional contagion. And sometimes, not checking in with how I actually feel, like what's mine and what's somebody else's. Overthinking. How many people overthink or analyze things and try to figure it out? If I can just get the answer, then I'll feel okay. So a lot of people, this is really, really common for empaths to get stuck in our minds for lots of reasons. and taking space from your family, from other people, taking everything personally. I'm seeing taking everything personally, so everything can start to feel like it's something to do with us, or there's something about what I'm doing or not doing that is either causing the behavior, or um, not able to separate that other people are 100% completely responsible for their own reactions. See how that sits with you. And, often we spend a lot of time trying to help and fix and figure out other people, and we're disconnected from how we are, what we need, and it can be really hard to figure that out in the beginning, right? Figure it out because we're using our mind. And this is where I come to embodiment. So you can probably start to see how embodiment and empaths are starting to overlap as a real place for being able to find ourselves, our power, our confidence, and our true self in the world, beyond and what other people have told us to be, beyond what the world is telling us how we should be, right? So embodiment is being with and as your body, as your body. And right now, if you're having thoughts like, well, I don't like my body is uncomfortable, or broken, those are thoughts. And I want to tell you that right now, every cell in your body is working to heal without you asking it to. And you in and of yourself, in your true self, are not broken at all. And you never, ever were. Okay. So we're going to start from there. And slowly over time, I mean, I did yoga for many 25 years, just a yoga teacher. And I thought, I'm embodied. I'm in my body. I'm doing yoga. But I want you to notice how you're doing what we're doing today. Because although I had a vigorous yoga practice, I still wasn't in my body. I was thinking about what I should or could or how this should look. So I want to put all that outside the room today. Don't worry about how this looks, how you're doing it. Notice. It's all about noticing. I'll say no more. All right. So let's settle in for a moment just to get centered and grounded as best as we can in our own bodies. And I find I've separated this down to only about 5 things we're going to go through, okay? But we can learn a lot from these 5 things. I think it's about 5. I had to really narrow it down. Because how we do anything is usually how we do everything. So I'll say no more. So a really good place for empaths to start is in something called a resting pose. You can do this sitting up, or you can do it lying down. And hopefully you can see me. Resting pose is lying on our back with our spine flat, our knees bent, so our feet are on the floor, our feet are connected with the ground, and our knees gently resting on each other. And if you are sitting, you can actually get the benefits of this by just imagining. So if you, just like you can imagine something, horrible right now, you can feel it in your body. You can also imagine what it feels like to do this. Okay. So if everybody wants to, just wherever you are, come onto your back, or if you're sitting, just if you can put your feet on the floor. So my soles of my feet are on the floor, and I'm going to lay my spine down as best as I can, still sitting, I think, in a resting pose, and allow yourself to feel supported by your chair or by the floor. And you'll see why this is important. All right, so giving yourself this time in your chair, on the floor, as you are. And I'm going to come back to the camera, but you can stay exactly where you are. You don't have to look at the camera, because for empaths, that can also be stimulating. You don't have to look at the screen. So wherever you are, allow yourself just to notice where, without even asking, notice where your back or your seat or the soles of your feet touch the floor. Just that sensation of right now being held. And bring your attention in towards your breath. So we're just going to get centered and grounded in a way that can start to feel familiar when the world moves us off balance. So just start to become aware that you are breathing, wherever you are, however you're sitting. So just notice your breath without even asking it to change or do anything different than it is. And just noticing the in-breath and the out-breath. Now you might bring the palms of your hands to rest somewhere on your body. So you might have your hands on your abdomen, or on your chest, on your heart, or one on each, or even on your thighs. So just bringing that attention in through the palms of your hands towards yourself in your own body. Okay. And if any part of this feels uncomfortable, just notice that. Just notice that. It doesn't mean you're doing it wrong or it's not for you. It's just information. It's just body information. So I encourage you, if you can, to put the palms of your hands on your abdomen, because your abdomen can be it's like a radar for empaths. And it also holds, often for empaths, our emergency response system. So just noticing your belly right now, there's no right or wrong to this. Just notice, can you feel your abdomen rising and falling? Is there any movement? Does it feel heavy or tight? Okay, so just let your hands, migrate there and feel heavy if you like. And bringing your awareness, which is really important for an empath over time, from an outer awareness to an inner awareness, to an inner gaze. And you can just do an embodied check-in. Am I here in my body? And if so, how much? How much am I here? Again, there's no right or wrong. We're just very much in a receiving mode, like a radar. How much am I here? And observing, even am I here 50%? Am I here 10%? And I want you to remember that if you can, remember this through practice and through your day. How much am I here? And just notice, can I detect and receive any messages coming from my body right now in terms of maybe I'm tired or thirsty or hungry? So just without seeking, without searching, just We're really tuning into the basics of your nervous system. So you might find your breath deepening, you might find it going shallow, but if you can, start to deepen and just slow your breath. Just slow it down, feeling rooted in your feet, rooted in your spine. And at any point, if you feel like you need movement, then you take that. But you are responding to the very basic needs of your nervous system, of you here on your mat or in your chair. So the next check-in is, what is my physical energy like in this moment? Noting, does it feel high, energetic? Does it feel very low today? This is all embodied self-care. Is it about in the middle? Am I starting the day? Am I ending the day? All starting points for what I need. Okay? There is nothing that can replace this self-care. And then notice the speed or the tone of your mind today as we are doing this. Do you feel like your mind is racing, problem solving, figuring out? That's okay. Just notice that. Am I looping? My mind looping around the same issue? Am I stuck on one channel, which is really common for empaths? And what channel am I stuck on? And then, if you can, come right back into your breath and your body and just notice it there. And this is the really advanced practice. Noticing, what am I feeling? What am I feeling about that? And if you can, just label one emotion. I feel afraid or worried, or excuse the language, I am pissed off. Whatever it might be, it's okay. This is self-care. So just returning to feel yourself rooted right down through your feet, through your spine, and noticing all that is here right now contains all the information that you need for your own embodied self-care. And we're tapping in to the intelligence that comes not from your mind to your body, but from your body up to your mind through a big nerve that goes from your small intestine all the way up to the back of your skull, connects through your spine, called the vagus nerve. And there's 80% of information is coming up, 20% going down. So we're going to tap into the biggest wealth of information, what's coming up. So we're going to just take a little bit of movement, because our vagus nerve, when it gets activated, it starts to shift us away from the fight, flight, freeze into more of the rest and digest. So for self-care, you can understand how important this is going to be. The vagus nerve is activated by perhaps a deeper or a slower breath. And if you can't do that today, it's okay. If you're lying on your back, or if you're in your chair, and very gently and slowly start moving your knees from side to side, rolling over that sacrum, your lower back. And just perhaps loosening up through one of the biggest muscles, the psoas muscle, where we're in fight or flight. It's often very tense, or freeze for empaths. So empaths tend to get stuck or paralyzed in certain areas, confused, foggy. Bring a little bit of movement. And then when you're ready, wherever you are, chair or floor, just roll over into more almost a fetal pose. So just taking a couple of breaths right here, just see what it feels like here. Does it feel familiar? Does it feel uncomfortable? Just notice. And then from here, very gently coming back up into seated. Okay. So we're just going to continue a little bit of that movement, activating that vagus nerve. You can see I'm not talking about like bubble baths and chocolates when I'm talking about self-care, am I? You can have those things later. Talking about really taking care of your body. So where from a seated position, you might open your chest a little bit. Perhaps if it feels comfortable, looking up slightly, and then bringing chin in towards chest. So just maybe 2 or 3 of these, inhaling to open shoulders, exhaling to bring your chin towards your chest. And I want you to notice in this movement, if you can, what feels more familiar? Does it feel more familiar to be closed in? And then how does it feel in your body to be more open through your chest? Okay, just one more in breath and out breath. Okay, so how does it feel? And then just coming back to a neutral spine. All right, so here we are back here, wherever you are, it's fine. I just want to check in with everybody because I can't see you. Was there anything what was that like for you? Any new information? What was it like to ground and center and breathe and feel supported? All of those things were packed a lot into that. And to also have the contact of the palms of your hands on your body. Okay. So I'll just see what felt familiar. Maybe there was something new there that came up. It could have felt uncomfortable at times. So you can let me know if there's anything at all coming up. All right. Okay. Opening and looking up felt very restricted. Okay. So just notice that, Lily. And often for empaths, we're going to do something with this, but it can feel more comfortable to move in and hide, particularly when the world feels overstimulating or overwhelming. And to be open and opening the chest can feel very vulnerable, and it can feel unsafe. Okay. So when we move with that, slowly over time, we can learn to open up and show ourselves and show up how we want to in the world and still stay grounded and centered in our body. But to just go into, real wide open, opening yourself up to the world. And as empaths, you may have done that and then quickly retreated back into your shell. So over time, we can use our breath and our body to stay grounded and centered every day as we step into what feels good and right and powerful for us. And I hesitate sometimes to use the word power with empaths because it can bring up a whole lot of stuff. But an empowered empath is a force to be reckoned with. I'll tell you that. Looking up felt new and unfamiliar, but good and lighter. Okay, All right. So just notice those things. So we're often in a survival place of fight, flight, freeze. And using this movement to open your vagus nerve, to trigger your vagus nerve, can help us stay grounded and centered as empaths. So we're just going to do this, just a little grounding and centering, which is really key, right where we're sitting now, because I want you to be able to take this with you throughout your day. Self-care is much more than, treating yourself well, or, cuddling up with Netflix, which is all good too. But it's really tuning in and staying centered and calm as much as you can throughout your day, your life. So wherever you're sitting, I'm just going to bring that awareness back to notice where you're sitting. So you might notice your spine, your tailbone, or where your body meets your chair. And once again, if it helps to close your eyes to come inside, if that feels too unfamiliar, that's okay. Just soften your gaze and start to notice your breath in this position. So just do one or two things here. So as we take an in-breath to fill up and expand side to side, front to back. And then as you exhale out, let gravity help you to ground right down, to let everything go ground right down into your feet, into your legs. And then in-breath in, as much or as little as you want. As you exhale, open your mouth, loosen your jaw, and you can, if you feel like it, let it go with a sigh. So your shoulders can relax, your jaw, there's nothing to say right now, nothing to fix, nothing to figure out. In-breath in, one more. We tend to be a lot in our heads, so fill up right to your head. Exhale right out, down, right down through to your feet, and even farther right down into the earth. Wiggle your toes if you want to feel grounded right here, as best as you can. Lots of compassion for yourself here. So those coming right down to the center of your body with your breath, what you need to know is our minds are scanning every second, 4 times a second, for a potential threat, things to fix, things to figure out. That's a lot that we're working with. So where we come into our body and our breath to let go of the scanning, let go of the reacting, to come right down to, I'm right here. How do I feel? What do I need? Okay. So here come the real, the ones really specifically for empaths. We're going to come to standing. Again, if you're not standing today, that's okay. You can do it later or do it from where you're sitting. Okay. So we're going to come into the pose, stand your ground. And this is where, if you find yourself easily off center, where you can come back over time to where, for what you stand for, okay? For where you're standing, right here, you're right here in your feet. So if you can come to a standing position and have your feet about hip width apart, and even if you're sitting, just lift your toes and place them back down. Okay. So you might want to rock from your toes back into your heels, from your toes into your heels, and then side to side. You can't see my feet, but. And then land completely right here in your feet. How often are we running over there? We're moving towards, fighting, or we're flighting, or we're freezing. And here we are, right here in our feet. Let your hands just go to your sides, active fingers, and then push down energetically through the soles of your feet so that your spine can lengthen and the top of your head reaches almost as best as you can. There's no perfect here. There's no one place to land. It's just noticing spine of the head reaching up. Okay? Shoulders, if it feels comfortable, just to open and hang by your sides. All right. So here you are. Close your eyes if you want to. You're going to ask yourself, even bring again hands in. As you breathe, notice your feet grounded, centered in your breath, centered in your feet. Where in my life do I need to stand my ground? Where in my life do I need to stay centered in my feet, present? Where do I find myself swaying from side to side, more likely moving forward towards people or moving away? Even experiment with that. Where in my life do I move forward where I need to stand my ground? Where in my life do I move away where I need to stand right here in my ground in my body? So just notice that. Come back to all these poses later because I'm going to pack a lot in right here. Okay. So from here, we're going to put one foot forward and the other one back. You can do this standing. Keeping our chest facing forward, I want you to just kind of experiment with this a little bit. This is embodied self-care for you when you find yourself being pushed around by life, by emotions, by other people. Okay. I've got one foot in front and my knee is bent. I've got one hand. I'm going to put it like this on my hip. And I've got my right hand in front of me. Okay. So what I'm hearing in the chat is around boundaries and being able to distinguish between other people and ourselves. So here is why setting boundaries from our mind it doesn't always work, or it doesn't always feel very strong. As we put one palm in front of us, see what it feels like, right? Protecting our heart to say no, no, and no. And this doesn't mean you have to do this right like this to people, but I want you to get the energy in your body of no. You can experiment with this later. If it feels intimidating, that's okay. Is your back foot still grounded? Is your front foot solid? Are you turning away? Or can you bring in that energy of no, no? And setting those limits with the world around you so that you can be there for you. No. And you can ask yourself, what is it? Does this feel familiar? Does it feel really scary? And where in my life do I need to use this energy? You can change sides of no. Where do I need to be able to say no? And when you bring it into your hand, your fingertips, and your feet, when you're standing facing someone, you can also bring in that energy yourself. You don't need to go like this, but you can also stand your ground and say no. So we won't do this today, but you might want to practice doing this against a wall. So practicing really, really finding that energy in your arms against a wall, being able to say no, no. And when you say no, where you need to in your life, you are saying yes to you, yes to me, And no today to that that energy, or this is really helpful for overgivers, people pleasers. Okay. So I would stop and just check in with people. I just want you to check in with yourself, because we're gonna move, right? We're just gonna keep on moving so we can end close to time anyway. So I've got two more things to go through before we stop. Empaths, when it comes to self-care, tend to be big givers. We're often giving to other people. So giving of ourselves, giving of our time, some giving of our money, giving, which are all wonderful, wonderful gifts that an empath has. But what happens when we're giving too much away and we're not able to receive? And I wonder how many of you this pertains to. How many people have trouble with the receiving? Okay, so let's take this into our bodies. And again, just feeling that energy, we're looking for information, for body intelligence. We're going to start with, again, 1 foot forward, 1 back, or if you're in your chair, just position yourself facing forward. What does it feel like to give? Okay. So as I move my hands forward, do it from your chair or where you're standing. I'm moving forward to giving. Okay. So notice, does that feel familiar to you? I'm guessing it might, to be giving. And where in your life are you over giving? Where in your life can you move back a little bit? Or where in your life would you really like to give more? That's okay too. Maybe there's something or someone over here that you haven't given to that you would like to. Just notice that. Okay. And then we're going to move back. Bring your elbows in close wherever you are and close your fingertips, because if they're wide, things seem to slip through. How does it feel spine's a little bit different. Spine's not extended, it's neutral. How does it feel to receive? This can feel awkward. Just notice. How does it feel in your body to have your hands open? Backwards motion to receive. How well do you do with receiving? And if you have trouble with receiving, know that you are worthy of receiving everything that this world, that people, that life has to offer you. Self-care. This is embodied self-care. So breathe here. You're receiving oxygen just by being alive. Notice everything around you that you're already receiving in your room. The clothes you're wearing. Right now, we are being gifted. And notice how that feels. Where in your life would you like to receive more? Okay, see what that feels like. All right. I have one more little set to take you through. Go back and practice what you need to later with the replay. And then I'm going to sit down with you. All right. So here's where we're going to end off. Embodied self-care for empaths. Bringing our hands together at our heart. You can, I can see it's almost like the shape of a heart, but it's almost like a dome right at the center of my heart. And again, I'm feeling into my feet, feel into your feet, feeling that strong strength of your legs. Coming into a position of, I want to use the word privacy or intimacy with yourself. Okay. So your head, your chin is slightly tucked, and you've got like a little ball in between your hands here. A place you can always, always, always come back to as an empath when the world feels too much. You can close your eyes, a resting place feeling centered in your breath, in your body, right here in privacy pose. It's okay. Now, from here, we're gonna step a little bit farther apart, open our palms, and I want to show you where we're headed, and I want you to notice what it feels like, and you don't have to get all the way there. So another quality of empaths is sometimes it can feel very intimidating to come out and be seen, to show our face or show up. And although we have so much to give to the world, being afraid of criticism, fear of failure, fear of rejection, and then so we end up keeping ourselves small for the sake of other people. So try this out. Try this out. And believe me, I had to do this so many times. Can you imagine me as an empath, afraid to come out and now able to do videos on YouTube online? Like it's a process. So being seen, opening your legs perhaps a little bit wider, and then bringing your palms up to extend, if you can, do what feels comfortable for your shoulders and arms. It can be anywhere out beside you. We're going to take up some space. So self-care for empaths does involve taking up space, your own space. So rather than retreating right now, you can retreat anytime you like. See what it feels like to extend your heart, your fingertips, your palms, your arms, and even perhaps your gaze and your chin to take up space. See how much space you have. If this feels intimidating, no worries. See how much space you have around you, that you are allowed to take up space. You're allowed to take up your space. And as you hold yourself in your space, you can also, if you like, create almost if you want to, you can shine it out, or you can create like an imaginary bubble around yourself. This is my space. I have the right to be here. I am worthy of this space. And in this space, I am safe. And if you're not feeling safe, it's okay. It's okay. This is the process. So if you practice this pose every single day on your own, eventually your energy, your emotional energy is going to catch up with it. And it will become easier. It will become your throat perhaps will start to open. You might find yourself speaking more of your truth because you won't be so stuck. Come back to privacy pose anytime you like. And then you can even go back and forth, moving in between. I'm here, I'm grounded, and I can take up my space. I'm here, I'm grounded, and I have the right to be here. Okay, so let's just come back to standing for a moment, grounded in my feet. Come back to your breath if you've lost it. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in compassion for you. And if you like, breathing out compassion for others. Now I'm going to come back and sit down and put my glasses on so I can actually see. Oh, we're moving towards the end of the hour. One more minute of just breathing in compassion for yourself. If that feels comfortable, feel free to, put a hand on your chest or on your heart, feel your heart beating, seeing what is present for you as we did in the beginning. And it might feel strange. As an empath, we already are so full of empathy, but to breathe out compassion for other people over there. Okay? So breathing in, compassion for us, and breathing out, compassion for those over there. So if you find yourself in the midst of what we call emotional contagion, so I've just like taken on all these emotions of other people, I feel heavy, it's getting confusing, I'm getting all mixed up. Breathe in, compassion for you. Put that person over there. It doesn't mean you love them any less. In fact, this way you are actually going to do more good for them if you breathe out compassion for them over there. Okay. So I do want to, before we end with one final self-care pose or shape, I want to check in with you and just see if there's anything, just what you noticed. I would actually love to do this again with you sometime because I think we need more time. Anything around standing your ground, no pose, setting a boundary, what that felt like we're using our body because our mind tends to get wobbly and doubtful and we start questioning ourselves. Should I be saying no or yes, or feel it in your body? What it felt like to move in and then move out. What it felt to like to give or receive. So if there's any part of that that you would like to pop in the chat, please do so. And I'll give you a minute. People say I can't type fast enough to get a question or a comment in. Or even, is there one of those poses that you would like to practice for bringing into your everyday life? Okay. Oh, that's super, Lily. So saying no to yourself, really, really key to set inner boundaries. Thank you for bringing that up. Inner boundaries. Like, no, we're not in a very kind and self-care way, right? Not the harsh critic that says, oh, you're doing that again, and starts criticizing us, but more like, no, honey, we're not doing that today. This can be really, really helpful for those unhealthy coping ways, or when you find yourself wanting to fix or people please over too much. No, we're not doing that today. If you find yourself looping, going around and around and around a situation where I could have or should have or would have, no, we're not doing that today. Not today. No. An inner boundary on yourself is really, really probably more important than setting boundaries with other people. Okay? We're not going around that loop today. So, and then coming back to yourself. And this is the very last pose that I do want to show you in terms of embodied self-care. And it's one that I would encourage you to just kind of see how it feels today. And see how it feels today. And absolutely, if you can, along with perhaps, a breath awareness practice or compassion meditation, we can do that now. Bring this into your everyday life. You are the most important person in your life. Why? Because unless we're looking after ourselves, we really can't even look after other people in a way that feels loving and truthful for all involved. Right? So self-care pose, we're going to take one hand, put it around your chest or overlapping the soft part of your body, overlapping your front body. And the other hand onto your shoulder. And then we're just going to lean our chin very, very slightly towards the upper hand. So play along with me here. Wherever you're sitting, and you might close your eyes. And from here, you can notice your breath. You can feel it from where you're sitting. And can you notice if you're like really clutching onto yourself, or if you can hold yourself in a more of a relaxed and kind way. Okay. Any touch that's soft onto yourself will send a little bit of oxytocin, a feel-good chemical, right to you, right to you. So self-care pose, breathing in self-care pose, allow yourself to be moved by your breath. Notice yourself holding you, or perhaps there's a little person inside of you that's maybe angry or sad, holding them as well. And breathing in self-care pose and noticing, acknowledging yourself for showing up here today to look after yourself as a highly sensitive, probably easily overwhelmed, or what I say, discombobulated nervous system. Breathe deeply, hold yourself kindly, and notice if this feels awkward or if it feels familiar. And where in my life do I need to hold myself a little bit more gently? Okay, a little bit more kindly. And another way of grounding is to right now bring your hands to your thighs and just gently move your palms from your thighs from your hips down to your knees. This, well, there's lots of physiological reasons why we say calm down, a downward motion. All right. So we have come to the end of our hour. And so I know some people have to sign off, but I will stay around and just, I'm good for another 10 minutes here. I want to check in because I can't see you, whether anything came up that you have a question, how familiar a self-care pose felt. And I really encourage all of us to go back and do some of these practices on, take one and do it for a week. And then another one the next week, the ones that you feel you need. And just notice what comes up for you. Your body will give you the wisdom that you're looking for the mind to solve. Okay. So let's access that wisdom, because when you, as a deeply feeling person, becomes embodied, things start to change within you and around you. And let me tell you, this is exactly what the world needs right now. The world doesn't need us to be any more disconnected from ourselves, from other people. This is not a have to. This is you connecting in with yourself. And with that, being able to be more connected with the people around you, no matter who they are. Okay. Yeah, you're welcome. I can see comments coming into me. Yeah, oh, you're welcome. You will be getting the replay for this. So feel free to message me or email me if you have any questions at all about it. And yeah, I really look forward to gathering again and doing some more of this embodiment, moving from this kind of what can be pretty chaotic into what is here and true and real, which is right here in our bodies, not the way that our bodies should be or what we've been told by other people or by society, how we should be or what we should look like. That's craziness now. In this new world, that is craziness. coming back into who we are is truth and reality. So if that seems like a far way off, it's not, because you're already here. Take care, everyone. Oh, Mary, I'm glad that we got rid of some of your hurt in your hip. Some of that movement is good. So we'll be, yeah, Susan, we did stand your ground and we did self-care. If anybody does want to write this down, you will get the replay, but then you'll have to watch the whole thing. We did giving and we did receiving, giving and receiving. We did what I call like privacy pose, coming back in and taking up space. And we did no pose. Yeah, no pose that you could practice on a wall, even if you want to. No pose. Make sure your shoulders stay square too. You're staying present and square. You're welcome. All right, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Stay grounded. Look after yourself. And yeah, stay centered. Stand your ground. Bye for now.